I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 9, and today we push the limit of what is possible to be farmed with the Drygmy from Ars Nouveau. Hopefully you guys are ready. Now getting started today, back into the All the Mods 9, I have a plan. I want to use the Drygmy from Ars Nouveau to farm just about everything that you wouldn't normally be able to farm from any other source. And it does it in a really interesting way. Now, this also means that we are going to be doing quite a bit of exploring because we need to find some very special mobs. And that also means maybe some dimensional hopping. Yes, we'll be able to go into some different dimensions. But first, we need to think about how does the Drygmy work? The Drygmy is a very interesting mob. And I do have some Drygmy shards right here. To be able to get these Drygmy shards, by the way, you can get them potentially from trading. You have a chance of getting these as a trade from a villager at level 4, but the level 4 trades can be multiple different things. So be sure to check that out. You can do a lot of trading in this pack, but the Drygmy, this right here. So the way that you actually get a Drygmy is we need to find one in the world, and we are going to use this right here, a Wilden Horn. Now, if you haven't found a Wilden Horn or even found a Wilden and taken it out, what you can actually make is the Tablet of Summon Wilden. Now, this is also to use to summon the boss from Ars Nouveau, which is going to summon a actual Wilden Chimera, which is a boss. But we can actually do this without needing any of this. You can just use emeralds, lapis, an iron sword, and a bow. And when you make this thing, by the way, when you make it, you can actually summon in all of those mobs. So this is a way to actually farm the loot. And so if we place this on a ritual brazier and we right click it and then we right click it again without modifying it in any way, this will just simply summon in several of the different types of wildlands. So this is a nice way to farm it so long as you have some lapis and emeralds. And this should give you several Wilden Horns. Now, a Drygmy is this little cute fella. So you are going to find these sprawled throughout the world. Right now I'm in Highlands, and these actually spawn in the Highlands apparently. So I can just toss this item down and it will get super happy. And then it will turn into some Drygmy shards. It can actually turn into more than one. So this is how you would initially farm these. But of course, you can also get these from dungeon loot, which I did show last episode. So I hope you check that out. You can get tons and tons of dungeon loot by using just one mod. And that mod is the Gateway to Eternity, which is this particular one, the Gateway of Overworldian Night. It drops 10 loot rolls from dungeon loot. This is so powerful. Now, to be able to actually use the Drygmy, this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to use our enchanting apparatus with all of these individual things, including source gems, like a lot of different kind of, we need a fish and some different crops here. All we got to do is put that in there, and that will generate a Drygmy charm. And just like this, we will have our first one ready to go. So it's better to set this farm up with multiple Drygmies. You can actually set up more than one Drygmy on one hinge, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But to kind of get things started right now, let's go ahead and get some mossy cobblestone. And this is how you would actually set this up. So we'll grab a chest. So any kind of chest will work. So we should be able to just place a chest. I'm going to use a vanilla chest for right now, but any sort of inventory should work. And we will place down this mossy cobblestone, and we can place a chest next to it for right now. But all we have to do is just click the Drygmy shard onto this, and you'll notice this something is happening, and it'll turn into a Drygmy hinge. And then what this will do is this will farm loot off of mobs, but it does require a jar of source. So if we take ourselves a jar of source, and if we dabble into some more of our R's, I believe I have my Dominion wand, we can go ahead and place a source jar nearby. So I'm going to place it right here. And this guy will actually farm loot off of mobs if mobs are nearby. And the more mobs you have, the more variety of mobs you have, the happier these little fellas are. And then we should be able to just simply right click this and link this jar over here. And so now we'll have a constant supply from the battery we set up last episode to be able to supply the Drygmies. And yes, you can just simply right click more Drygmies onto this and they will farm even faster. Now, having a bunch of mobs in world is not necessarily the best way to go about things. So Ars Nouveau has actually added a way that you can pretty much put anything into a jar. And believe it or not, in this pack, there's not a lot that is being prevented from farming by the Drygmy. The only thing that is prevented from being farmed is the artifacts chest and productive bees. So everything else should be free game. Now keep in mind, some things such as like the dragon or things that the mod itself considers as bosses, like the wither itself, those things won't have any drops. However, it will still farm them for XP, but it won't farm them for any items. You're not going to have a nether star Drygmy farm. So now to go about actually getting mobs into a jar, we need to use these containment jars, and then we're actually going to use a containment spell. So a containment spell, or I guess you could call it a ritual. The ritual of containment is what we need. So it looks like a little jar itself, and this is going to require our first introduction into essences. And yes, I think we should set up automation for every essence, and we can do this quite simply before doing all of this. But let's just kind of talk about this. Whenever we do place down this ritual, on the first one, it doesn't actually need source, but whenever we do start to put more things into jars, we will need source for all of those prior. So you can contain something by simply putting it in and placing a jar nearby and placing the entity nearby, and the entity will just be transferred into these little jars, which are kind of cool. And when I say entity, I mean entities. A lightning strike can be put into a jar, and it's actually an achievement that you can get, or an advancement inside of Ars Nouveau to actually put a lightning bolt inside of one of these jars. Now to automate the essences, it's not that difficult. All we need is the same setup that we use to automate these in imbuement chambers. We need to use them over here as well. But these do require 3 specific items to be onto the platforms like you see here. So we just need to simply get the items on there, and all we gotta do is just do the same thing, but instead we send source gems into all of these. So source gems will get sent, and then we just need to set up the puller, this one that transfer into the router, and we need to go ahead and just put all of the essences in here as a whitelist. That way it'll only pull out the essences once they're done. So with this in place, all we need to do now is have an exporter that simply sends the source gems. So we'll send the source gems over, and then we need an importer that is going to receive the ingredients that this produces. And so we should see source gems start to fill into these. I don't see them just yet. I don't know why. It doesn't look like there's something in here. But once this is connected up, we see them connected. It should be set up correctly. Ah, that's right. So if you notice this same issue, it's because it cannot put the item in until there's a valid recipe. So it would do the exact same thing to me. If I tried to put one of these in, you notice it's going to say, hey, we don't have the appropriate recipe in here for this. Now, honestly, the hardest part about setting all of this up is just simply gathering all of the ingredients that are needed to go into each one of these essences. So I should have easily all of the supplies that I'm going to need for this. And thankfully, you can just simply pull the ingredients into your inventory, and then I just need to place them on these pedestals like so. And then notice that's going to start sending, and it's going to start processing. And just like these, the more source jars that are nearby, which we will have, will make this whole process go faster. So with all said and done, and we now have our source jars linked up, this thing is going to be going incredibly fast, producing tons, and well, is probably going to end up consuming all of these way faster than I'm actually producing source crystals. But that'll be fine. We can always toggle this off once we have quite a few of these, because I don't think we're going to need an infinite supply of them. We just need a few of these to run for a while. So now that I have a few of these built up, I'm going to actually go ahead and break this, and we're probably not going to need these to be running off of our source. They will actually passively run, just like the source crystals or the source gems. So I'm just going to let the rest of the source run out here. And then now that we have quite a few of these built up, which honestly built up kind of fast, they'll just passively start to build. Now with all of that out of the way, we can actually start exploring. Now I have the Trinity in my inventory. We have the Quantum Catcher, we have the Mob Imprisonment Tool, and a Mob Yoinker. Now these are 3 different ways that you can actually pick up mobs. So we should be able to just yoink some mobs and bring it back to this location, which would be the easiest way to do this. That way we can just keep a source jar in our ritual constantly burning. and not have to worry about it elsewhere. But there are some instances where this is not going to be possible, right? Like, for example, if we were to catch the dragon, well, the dragon, we're probably going to have to set this up actually where the dragon spawns, because it's just going to be too much of a hassle. We won't be able to just appropriately yoink the dragon and bring it to the overworld. So we'll have to do it some other way. And the wither is also another one. Now, some of the most important mobs to me right now is where we're going to have to go off on an adventure. And I want to test this out on a few things. You guys have told me that I can capture Cataclysm bosses. So finding a Cataclysm boss and trying to test this on is probably going to be another example of where we're going to have to place this physically in the world near the Cataclysm boss in order for us to capture it. But we should be able to capture some other mobs, like the ones from the Irons spells and spellbook, right? So there are some things that we can only get via those guys. And this is one thing that I want to find. I want to find the Dead King. And this, like I said, has a chance of spawning these runes, but also all of these different inks, which is going to be very nice. But where exactly do we find these? I currently have no idea, but I think I might be able to figure it out by looking for structures inside of different dimensions. I think this is a nether sort of thing where this mob either spawns in the nether or spawns in the overworld. Either way, we're going to have to go on a hunt, and I think the structure compass is going to be our best friend in this situation. Now, I'm not entirely sure, but right here is the ancient battlegrounds, which seems like something that would be in. Then we also have a mountain tower, a mangrove hut, an invoker fort, and then a catacomb. All of these are from this mod. But I definitely have been to an ancient battleground, so we should try this in the nether and just sort of see what spawns there, and hopefully we can try to grab something. So perfect. I have an ancient battlegrounds set located, and then I'm going to head in that direction. It seems like 681 blocks out, not too far away. Aha. So this does appear to be the area, and it's kind of cool as there's like a burned out portal here. I think that's pretty nifty. But there are all kinds of interesting things. An orange banner. We have some chests. Okay. And then we also have these armor piles that are on the floor. But nothing I see here seems like it would spawn anything. Now, the armor piles I'm kind of spoiled by because I do know what they technically do. But I have no idea how we go about getting the other mob to spawn. Now, we can go ahead and do this. So if we break the armor pile, these guys spawn. And these guys are no joke. These are ancient knights. They have their own animations. They're pretty cool, actually. And notice, look at this guy. That is so sick, the fact that it moves like that. But we should be able to simply pick it up and yoink it. I just picked it up in this mob imprisonment tool, but we can also pick it up, should be able to in the quantum catcher and also in the mob yoinker. And so all of these do work just like that. Notice, by the way, every time I use the mob yoinker, it's consuming my experience. So that's the only thing that's different with the mob yoinker is you do need experience for it, but all of these, they don't. Now, the cool part about this mob that we just captured is it can actually drop netherite scrap. So this is a way of just farming netherite scrap, which could be kind of a difficult thing to automate later on in the game. So definitely worth having this guy running. Now that we're back, let's go ahead and try and contain this thing that we just caught. It only makes sense, right? So to do this, we will take our containment ritual, and then we just need a containment jar. So I'm going to place a containment jar right here, and then I'm going to place this, and these are going to use the source jars here, and I'm going to activate it. And this is going to keep it running. Should be able to run no problem. And then as soon as I place this mob in, it should get picked up and put into the containment jar, just like that. And now we have ourselves a mob in the jar that we can pick up, and we should be able to let our Drygmy farm it. So yes, the Drygmy is not doing anything right now, but right now it just seen that the mob exists. It's getting happy. It's going to farm it, and it should put loot drops in here. Pretty little cool thing. I kind of like it. Look at this. It just pulled some of that out, and it should run a loot pool, and it should end up going inside the chest. Like I said, the more Drygmy you have, the faster it will go, and also the faster it'll go, the more mob variety that you have around it. Now, I am still interested in finding that other thing, so I think I've been to the Evoker Fort, and the Mangrove Hut doesn't really sound interesting, nor does a mountain tower, so the Catacombs is the only thing that I've not been to, so I'm going to go ahead and give that a shot. and see what that's all about. And let's see, is it located in this dimension? Yes, it is. So this is 2,000 blocks out, and it being a catacombs, I would assume is underground, as most catacombs are underground. Now it does appear that we're getting close. Is this something related to it? I mean, I would assume this is a mine shaft. Looks a lot like the Young's mine shaft. But I'm going to take the plunge. We're going to head all the way down. Oh, this is definitely it. This has to be. This is definitely a Young's mine shaft, though. Maybe there's a mine shaft mixed with this? Oh boy, the fact that there's Skulk nearby is awfully scary. Oh, and I hope this didn't ruin it, being mixed in like that. Okay, so we have some mobs. Make quick work of them. Okay, so this area definitely doesn't appear to be anything like this. So maybe this is just the Youngs, but it's got to be here. It's got to be nearby. So I've gone back up to the surface, and what I've done is I found where my compass was like roughly pointing where it was exchanging, and now I'm just digging straight down. And I hope that I encounter... Okay, this is definitely more what I was thinking it was going to be like. Now, this is going to be completely dark because because of night vision, I'm able to see quite clearly. Oh, there's traps. Okay, so I need to keep an eye out on that. Oh, I've got to be very careful then. What set that off? Like, honestly, oh, there's a that's so cool. There's a dispenser behind there, and it's so disguised. I wouldn't even tell because of all the mixture of materials nearby. Okay, let's see what all we have going for us here. I've just got to be very careful. I'm afraid there's going to be like TNT now. Just everywhere. So I'm going to like check every chest. Okay, so in emeralds, it looks like we have frozen bones. So these are going to be things that I definitely want to keep an eye out for. Is stuff that's from this mod. Ooh. These lightning in a bottle are kind of cool because they're kind of difficult to get. And we have a ton of exploring, it looks like. Because this is more than just your standard build. There's actually stuff going on here. So this is a potion brewing room with a pedestal from the Iron Spells and Spellbook mod. Interesting. And there's a potted wither rose. So this could be a way that you could find a wither rose without actually finding a wither rose or getting it the normal way, which is honestly kind of a pain to get. Oh, this is kind of cool. It's like a bridge. Whoa. Is that just... that is this a mob spawner that's spawning in those? That is so cool. Oh, it's 100% like that's a scary trap down there. You do not want to fall down that bridge. No, you do not. I love that. That is so neat. Okay, here we go. Now we got some mobs after us. And I expect these mobs to be like definitely magic based. There's got to be some magic based mobs in here. Let's see. Ah, and yes, we are finding scrolls as well. So this is definitely the Iron's place that we are looking for. Now the only thing we need to do is figure out if that king, that dead king, is living here. Oh boy, back over the bridge of death. Oh god, I would not want to be down there. It looks like we need to start working our way down this hallway. Let's see, that leads... There's a spawner down there. I have no idea what those spawners hold. I really don't want to destroy many spawners because we might be able to come back depending on what spawns out of these. Ooh, let's see what we get down here. Nice spiral tunnel. And thank goodness for night vision. That makes this so much nicer. Yes, there's a lot of corridors. Okay, so an area kind of like the one we had already been into. Another chest full of all kinds of just goodies. That guy was absolutely invisible. Okay, we'll take those jewels. Look at them, they're invisible. I told you there might be some kind of spooky magic-based mobs in here. So what is in here? Oh, there's a tripwire that leads into an arrow. But what is that even hooked to? Was there supposed to be a way to walk? I have no idea what's up there. Oh my gosh, this place is way bigger than I thought it was going to be. Honestly, kind of reminds me of like the catacombs from like the Hypixel server. Kind of reminds me a little bit. Oh! Oh, look at that. Oh, that completely tripped me up, but it's actually kind of worth it because these are really powerful things that we got down here. A conjurer's talisman. Ooh, I will definitely take blaze rods. Oh, what a trap. That's so not cool. All from just simply opening that one chest right here, triggering that piston. Oh, what a cool little trap. Man, some of these mobs are kind of cool. They're running around with like speed. There's a stairwell that leads up. Oh, but this right here, I think that right there is what we're looking for. What is this? Those armor stands though. That's so cool. They have them posed. I think you can only do that with like commands, right? To be able to move them. But what is this all about? 300 health. This is the mob. That's the mob we need. This one right here. So do we just punch it to wake it up? Oh, we do. I just punched it. Oh, that is so cool. Oh, that's so creepy though. Okay, I love this. Oh, that is wicked. Now, can we just completely pick this guy up? We just pick him up. I can't get over myself right now. That was so dramatic, and then we just go, boop. What does he do? I want to see some more of this cool stuff. Oh, that is sick. He just summoned a bunch of mobs. That is so cool. Oh, and even summoned some poison. Oh, the fact of how dramatic that was, only to just get yoinked. I love it. I'm so glad I didn't just like try to attack with my sword, because that would have ended quite poorly, I think. He probably would have insta-killed it. That would not have been good. Whose throne is whose now? Look at us. Honestly, wonder if that guy just had a bad party night and was just lounging there. And we ended up taking him out. There's like an amethyst geode underneath this guy. What in the world? I was wondering where the spider noises were coming from. Honestly, it's just a block of emerald. I can't not take it. And that looks like a villager. I love these little statues. Is there honestly anything in here that I'm missing? Oh, there is definitely something. This is where my curious mind sometimes helps and pays off. Look at that. Go ahead and grab this. This is the Poison Ward ring. And then we got the oak skin scroll. That's kind of nice. More runes. And then the ray. I wonder if these scrolls are special. There's an enchanted golden apple, epic ink, blood vials. Okay, and then what's up a little higher? Is there anything up here? How would there be stairs leading to nothing? Maybe it doesn't lead to nothing? I guess it does lead to nothing. Is this like an emergency escape? I just found another one of these trap rooms, and yes, this has some really cool stuff. Divine pearls. Yeah, these are worth grabbing. Even the runes. Now I think with all of that, ooh, look how spooky this is with the lights off. With all of this, I think we've cleared out the entirety of this area. Now it's time to get that guy and probably some other mobs put around that Drygmy and also get some more Drygmy going. I'm glad I stopped here because is that what I think it is? Oh, that is another trap. Oh man, there's got to be a room full of TNT in this place. Guaranteed. Honestly, if there's not a room full of TNT, that was a total miss. Now here's the start to our long journey that is going to be capturing a ton of different mobs. And it all starts with, well, this one being a big one. And it's in there. It's in the jar. May have lagged a little bit. It is definitely now in that jar. This is going to be one happy little fella the more of these we get put over here. And look at that. We're already starting to farm up netherite scrap and cinder essence. Now there's still one more boss to test, and that is the Cataclysm stuff. But I want to go ahead and just show that I can place down more Drygmies on this stone. And that is several Drygmies now, all farming. They will use this source, by the way. And they should interact. It looks like an absolute mess, but things will get pulled out and farmed way faster. Oh God, it's already started with this method. So This is something we're going to definitely have to keep in mind, as this is going to be pulling off tons of things, including these runes. But yes, the more of them, the more Source is going to use, ultimately, the more that it is going to farm. And well, that could be a good thing and a bad thing. Now, in my case, I am just going to simply hook up an importer to the bottom of this chest and just send it straight into my refined storage system. Honestly, that's what it's all about. My refined storage is simply about storing things, and so I'm going to use it for that purpose. By the way, if you're wondering about how to pick these guys up, well, you can simply use a dispel spell on them, or you can just punch them to death. The punching them to death, honestly, is the easiest way to get their shard back, and you're ready to go. So now it's time to test out the Cataclysm boss and see if this is going to be a viable way to farm these, because they are needed for the All the Mods Star, some of the drops. So to be able to do this, we are going to need a containment ritual. I'm going to try and farm this one on site without picking the mob up, just because of the sheer dangerousness of bringing this thing to the base. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see if we can get this guy out here. This guy tosses out lava, by the way, which is just nasty. But let's go ahead and try this. I'm going to place this here, and hopefully it doesn't destroy blocks. There we go. And then we have a jar, and then I'm going to use this and activate it. And then this guy should get put into a containment jar. Oh, that is just too good. Too good. Too good, too good, too good. Netherite monstrosity. And now we need to, well, see if the Drygmy farm drops off of it. If so, this changes how we are going to be playing the end game of this pack. So let's go ahead and put this bad boy down. It looks so adorable. By the way, do not accidentally use a dispel on these containers while accidentally using it, or while trying to use a dispel on your Drygmy, because it will actually remove the mob from the jar and it will spawn into the world. Yeah, that could lead to catastrophic events like lava placed everywhere. And it does. I just saw the hammer. It does farm the hammer. I've only taken this thing out once. I just seen it. We now have 2 hammers in here, which means it did farm the hammers off of the mob. Also, it did take the horns as well. And I just noticed I had a staff. Yes, we are even farming the staffs as well. This is amazing. Could you imagine having like 64 Drygmies running on this whole setup? Oh my goodness. So now that we know this, we can actually farm Cataclysm mobs and bosses with this setup, meaning that this whole entire All the Mods Star should be easily automatable, because we are going to need some of these items for the star. This makes it so much nicer. Now, hopefully the All the Mods team doesn't remove this or add this to the blacklist. Yeah, that would be good. So guys, with that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We have more adventuring to come. I am super excited to see what else we can potentially farm with the Drygmy. Oh, and we also have the Twilight Forest and many other bosses to definitely check out. And we are going to need drops from all of them. So that is going to be something we're going to have to do in a future episode. So be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you don't miss a future episode, as there is still lots to come in this mod pack. And thank you guys so much, by the way, for watching this series. I do appreciate you guys a lot. Comment down below, what should I put in a Drygmy char? Let me know. I would love to hear. Is there something odd that should go in there? The only thing that's blacklisted, like I said, is the bees from Productive Bees, and well, the little guy from the Artifacts mod, the little chest. So let me know down in the comments. I would really love to hear from you guys. And with that said, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Prideful Lion GG. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, and becoming a Discord premium member and supporting me in one of the best ways possible. Honestly, going above and beyond to do so. Thank you so very much. And well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And well, it's now time to sign off. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.